Space is incredibly big and scary. It hosts endless different things, from zombie planets to strange stars, from strange alien civilizations to supermassive black holes. So much so that some discoveries are too surprising to be true. Let's look at 16 scary but true space facts from these discoveries. 16. The Great Attractor that eats galaxies. 250 million light-years away from our galaxy, there is a terrible space anomaly called the Great Attractor, which has a gravitational force so strong that it pulls entire galaxies towards itself and can crash them into each other. What's even scarier is that we still don't know what it is. There isn't even enough mass around it to account for this gravitational pull, and we are on a collision course with it. And although this won't happen for another few billion years, knowing the inevitable fate of our galaxy is still incredibly haunting. We don't know exactly where this mass comes from, because it's on the other side of the center of the Milky Way, so we can't see it. What surprises scientists is that such a thing should not actually happen, because dark energy causes the universe to expand, and galaxies move away from each other in the expanding universe. But this attractor can attract huge galaxies. 15. The next planet. We colony may be hell. Gliese 581c. Remember the name because this could be your new home? Scientists have concluded that this hellish planet is the most likely target for future colonization. Orbiting a red dwarf star, much smaller than our own sun, Gliese 581c is almost completely hostile to human life. Because of Gliese 581c's close proximity to its sun, the planet is stuck in a tidal lock state, meaning it doesn't rotate while orbiting. As a result, half of Gliese 581c is constantly facing the sun, while the other half is in complete freezing darkness. Only a small vertical belt of the planet is potentially habitable by humans, and it is on this belt that the proposed colonization will occur. 14. Lost bodies in space. Today's space missions are relatively safe for astronauts. Of course, I use the term relatively, because that wasn't always the case. In total, there have been more than 200 space missions carried out by NASA alone, and more than 430 people have gone into space. Unfortunately, not all of these space missions were successful, and some previous failed missions resulted in the death of both humans and animals. What makes the problem even more dire is the fact that some of these failed spacecraft were never recovered. So both the spacecraft and their deceased personnel are still floating somewhere in space, lost forever in the pitiless void of our universe. 13. Hell in the solar system, Venus. It's right on our doorstep and is very similar to Earth in terms of mass and volume. So you might think that a trip to Venus would be like taking a ferry from England to France or crossing from the USA to Canada. But no, Venus is a scary place. Venus's atmosphere consists mostly of carbon dioxide, rain sulfuric acid, and the average temperature at ground level is 464 degrees C. So much so that this acid rain can melt metal. So, if the world has not changed, why did Venus turn into a hell? Because Venus was closer to the sun, the oceans evaporated much more easily. As the oceans diminished, Venus began to warm. While volcanoes were already filling the atmosphere with carbon dioxide, the sun heating the rocks and increasing the carbon dioxide turned the planet into a greenhouse gas hell. As a result, Venus's atmosphere is choked by a whopping 96% carbon dioxide, compared to just 0.04% on Earth. 700 million years ago, Venus looked like Earth, but climate change and greenhouse gas effects have now made it the hottest planet in the solar system. 12. Earth-like terror planet. HD 189773b is an exoplanet first detected in 2005. Dubbed Hot Jupiter, it is a gas giant that is much closer to its parent star than Jupiter is to the Sun. If you were in a spaceship and could see it, it would look like a big blue marble, just like the Earth. So what's scary about this? Apart from a surface temperature of 1,300 degrees Celsius, it is constantly buffeted by 8,700 kilometers per h winds and rains down molten glass. So, although it is very similar to Earth, this exoplanet is a complete terror planet. 11. Danger of solar superstorms. The Sun's activity follows an 11-year cycle, and solar maximum will peak in July 2025. It is very difficult to predict whether there will be an internet and electricity apocalypse because it depends on the Sun's magnetic field. The most famous supersolar storm in history is the Carrington event of 1859. This storm was so powerful that it caused electrical currents in telegraph wires, started fires, and shocked telegraph operators. It also caused the aurora borealis to be seen as far south as Mexico and Cuba. If it happens like it did in 1859, it will probably burn up the power grids again. 10. Pioneer's gold records. NASA's Pioneer 10 and Pioneer 11 probes were launched to explore space in the early 1970s. Mounted on the outside of each was a gold plate showing a map of the solar system, its location in the Milky Way, and anatomically correct drawings of male and female humans depicted alongside line drawings of the probes themselves. The idea was, if the probes were discovered by an alien civilization, they would know where they came from. So basically we sent naked photos of us along with directions to our house to total strangers and total alien strangers. What could go wrong? 9. Starless sky. As the Milky Way galaxy continues to merge with neighboring galaxies, the view of the night sky from Earth will change dramatically. Rapid expansion would eventually push galaxies apart faster than light, eliminating the distinctive products of the Big Bang and making reference points for measuring expansion obsolete. However, if dark energy weakens, the opposite happens. There are more stars in the sky than you can count. 8. The explosion of the universe. According to the Big Rip theory, within a few billion years, a mysterious penetrating force known as dark energy will become so powerful that it will be able to tear every particle of Earth's matter apart at the atomic level. However, scientists do not believe that this theory will come true, because current observations suggest that dark energy may not be strong enough to cause this eventual tear. 7. Infinite universe. Which makes you think Big Bang is happening all over the universe. The reason we cannot see the entire universe is that some parts of it are very far from Earth. Their light has not had time to reach us since the Big Bang. Additionally, as the universe expands, the incoming light becomes dimmer and redshifted. The size of the universe begs the question, can the universe be infinite? Some scientists, even Greek astrophysicists in the past, thought about this theory. According to theory, space is infinite. It has no beginning or end. It came from eternity and goes to eternity. 6. Vampire stars. The nickname vampire comes from the idea that these stars steal gas from their companion stars in a binary system. This stolen gas is what creates the signature feature of a B star, a rotating disk of hot gas and dust around the star's equator. Yet they are rare. For example, only 1 in 1,500 stars in the Milky Way galaxy is a vampire star. In binary systems, 2 stars are similar to each other, and 1 star does not completely dominate the other. But if anything is much larger, it will pass into the other and leave traces of metal on the surface of the star. If such a vampire star enters the solar system, do not worry, because before it eats the sun, the Earth will probably be destroyed by colliding with another planet due to changing gravity. 5. Doomsday asteroid. We'll almost certainly be hit by an asteroid eventually, but probably not for very long. Asteroids are remnants of the formation of our solar system and occasionally pass by Earth. Scientists estimate that a major asteroid impact that could cause severe global disruption occurs approximately every million years, so Earth is probably safe from a devastating asteroid impact for 1,000 years. We actively monitor near-Earth objects to estimate potential impacts. There are organizations such as NASA's NEO program that look for asteroids and comets that may pass through Earth's orbit. The good news is that with enough warning, we can knock an asteroid off course if necessary. But even small asteroids can cause big problems. The Chelyabinsk meteor in 2013 was only 15 meters in diameter, but it exploded with the force of a nuclear bomb and injured thousands of people. Overall, the danger of asteroid impact is statistically low, but it's an interesting thing to think about. Scientists are working on ways to protect us from future impacts, so hopefully we'll never have to worry about it too much. 4. Mysterious supervoids. Supervoids can even dwarf galaxy clusters that span billions of light years. For example, the Buddha's Gap, one of the largest known supercavities, has a diameter of up to 260 million light years. So how could these supervoids have formed? We don't know exactly how supercavities form. It's an astronomical mystery. Some theories suggest that they arise from voids left after the large-scale distribution of matter in the early universe. In addition, these gaps in space affect other galaxies. The void acts almost like a giant bubble. Galaxies at the edge are moving towards denser regions in the background. Even more interesting, our own Milky Way galaxy may be located near or even inside a supervoid called the KBC void, which could affect its motion. You've probably seen the cosmic microwave background radiation map before. Scientists think the cold blue spots may be due to these supervoids. Maybe supervoids could be the home of giant monster black holes. 3. Rogue planet. Normally, we would expect a planet to orbit a star or a more massive object, but this is not the case. There are planets that are free to roam in space. Interestingly, these cosmic vagabonds are thought to be quite common, possibly outnumbering the number of stars in our Milky Way galaxy. So how are these planets possible? Possibly another star or a gravitational fluctuation knocked this planet out of orbit. Another theory is that it may have collapsed into a planet from a mass of cold, dense gas and dust that never managed to fully ignite a star at its core. So, can we establish civilization on these interstellar traveling planets? Answer is no, because given their extreme cold and lack of stars, rogue planets are not considered habitable in the conventional sense. But some scientists suggest they may harbor underground oceans or internal heat sources that could potentially support life forms adapted to extreme environments. 2. Big Crunch. There are many interesting theories about the end of the universe. The Big Crunch theory is the most flaming theory. According to this theory, the universe will contract, become denser and warmer until everything is supposedly compressed into a single point as it began. As things get closer, temperatures will rise. We're talking unimaginably hot temperatures, like trillions of degrees. Even atoms cannot maintain their shape at this temperature. Some ideas suggest that when the Big Crunch occurs, the universe will be full of black holes. These black holes will then merge into a supermassive black hole, or perhaps even a mega black hole. So what happens next? While some theories say that the universe will begin again with the Big Bang, others say that the universe will disappear. 1. Dark matter and dark energy. One of the scariest things about space is that we only know what a tiny fraction of the universe is made up of. According to the European Space Agency, roughly 5% of the universe consists of ordinary matter, 25% dark matter, and 70% dark energy. So it's a little worrying that we don't know what most of these are. Ordinary matter is easy. That's all the molecules and atoms that make up you, me, trees, giraffes, rivers, biscuits, planets, stars, and, well, everything. So far, so good. But as for the other two, dark matter. This is a sort of extraterrestrial equivalent. We can't see it because it doesn't interact with anything other than gravity. But thanks to gravitational effects, we know it exists in large quantities in space. For example, galaxies are spinning too fast to be held together by the gravity of the stars and gases we can see. So, if there was no dark matter, imagine the marbles constantly colliding with each other. The universe would be a complete chaos. But stars orbit thanks to the extra gravity of dark matter. Dark energy is even more mysterious, but it appears to be an unknown form of energy that is accelerating the expansion of the universe. Scientists believe that dark energy has a strange property called negative pressure. Unlike normal pressure, which pushes objects together, negative pressure acts like an anti-gravity force pushing space apart. Exactly how this works and what creates this pressure is a complete mystery. Another mystery about dark energy is that it can affect the fate of the universe. If dark energy becomes stronger, the universe will either sink into eternal cold or it may tear the universe apart. But if dark energy slows down, the universe could collapse on itself. We looked at 16 scary but true space facts. Don't forget to express your thoughts in the comments. Don't forget to follow Science Buster to support the channel and not miss other space and science videos. Thanks for watching. Bye.